F going against Houston and the
Just
Dodgers.
say, I'm a little tight today, Coach.
We're going to push it back.
I'm a little tight.
Yeah.
I did a little deep dive on a little prospect spotlight, and it's not Jackson Merrill or Ethan Salas.
I can't believe you. There's one guy from 2000 to 2010 that won a Silver Slugger, and it's 2004.
Let's go.
Oh, my gosh.
Let's go. What's going on? It is the Fireside Chat. Today is September 7th, 2023. I mean, it was actually like Padres played decent this week, but they're still done.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to summarize.
I'm just waiting for this year to end. I'm excited. I've been thinking about the offseason.
Yeah.
And what it's going to look like next year.
Yeah.
But it's still fun to watch
I
Blake
mean,
Snell go out for the Cy Young. He did well.
Mm-hmm.
Strider didn't.
Yeah.
Another notch towards...
It's true. He's getting
Towards
close.
Snell.
He's looking good. I mean, honestly, Tatis is still fun to watch. Campusano's been fun to watch.
Yeah.
Like, there's still fun things to watch.
Well, not only that, I feel like ever since we've been quote unquote out of it,
Yeah.
all these other guys who weren't playing are getting playtime because
Yeah.
the guys who needed rest are finally like, all right, I'll take some rest.
Yep.
And they've been playing
Or
well.
hurt.
yeah, they're playing well. That's
Yeah.
the weird part is like, oh my gosh, maybe we could have been giving our stars rest
Maybe.
this season.
Maybe so.
And those guys would have stepped up. We don't know. All speculation, but it is nice to see them get in the game and be useful.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. And it almost feels like, so in recap a little bit this week, Padres went 4-3. They had a 4-game set against San Francisco. Lost the first game, but then won pretty convincingly 3 straight.
The most they've done all year.
To tie, their win streak record. And then had, they lost 2 to the Phillies and won 1 to the Phillies. But even their first loss, that was just a Rich Hill.
Grandpa Hill.
Doing Rich Hill things. They still played really well. Really just that last game, which was yesterday? That was like the only game where they didn't really show up. But so that makes it a 5-game stretch where they actually were playing really good baseball, I would say.
Yeah.
And probably kind of like what you were saying. I think a lot of it, probably just the stress was taken off, right? If you think about it from day one, and they, kind of put it on themselves when they had the big press conference where they're saying like, we'll see you in the World Series.
Oh my gosh.
And they made, the big 4 look like rock stars. And it's just like, okay. But
we
I feel
say that
was
now,
lifted.
okay, but at the moment, I was stoked. I loved every bit of it.
I was hyped too.
Yeah.
But still, it's just, I guess, looking back, it's like, okay.
Hindsight
you got
2020.
You got what was coming to you.
I guess. I don't want them to not be all hyped before a season again. Like, it's going to take time to do that because they're going to be like, hey, we did that last time and it didn't work. But I loved it. I don't want to see that go away. That's kind of the thing that really hurts about the season. Yeah, the fanfare, going out and getting big names.
And I guess you got to remember, right? Like, baseball's for entertainment. And that is entertaining.
You mean this isn't our lives? Because at times it feels like it. Man, they've lost some heartbreakers this year where I go home, I'm just like,
oof.
Oh, my God. Like, hello, darkness, my old friend. Again.
So, here's a rundown of the weekly show we have so far. So, we're going over the recap. We're going to talk about the standings a little bit. Going to hone in on a little bright spot from the pitching staff.
Sweet.
One bright spot, so that'll be a fun one. I understand that you've come up with a little game for us to play.
We got a game. Everyone's played it before.
Cool.
It's our version.
Love it. I did a little deep dive on a little prospect spotlight, and it's not Jackson Merrill or Ethan Salas.
Don't turn it off.
Like everyone else is talking about.
We'll talk about them later.
So that's going to be did a little deep dive. That was fun. And then, per usual, we'll probably just take a little look ahead, see upcoming series is, what else do we have to look forward to in the season.
Nice.
Yeah, but so without further ado, Padres, I'll go through this quick. 66-75, 7 games out of the wild card.
It's kind of amazing that they are not mathematically out yet. Like, they've played so bad all year.
Games out. I think it's the Giants now are 500, and they're right in it too. Like, they're 2 games out from a spot, which just is like, wow.
It makes you want to cry. The Padres should be able to play 500 with their roster. We're not going deep into it, but oh my Lord.
Yeah.
It hurts a little bit more when it's like, if they did even just a little bit of what they're supposed to, we wouldn't even be having an issue.
Yeah. It's been nice to see the offenses kind of turn it around until they ran into Zach Wheeler, but
Zach Wheeler's good, man.
He is good.
I mean,
He's
that could
very
have
good.
happened to a team that was hitting on all cylinders. Happens.
Yeah. But yeah, just like if we go through the week, right, it was like there were some pitching blips. The offense was good for the most part. And then this actually segues us into very bright spot for the Padres pitching, Pedro Avila. How happy have you been with his performance this year?
I'm happy. I'm shocked. And I'm questioning.
That's fair.
Is it sustainable? Like,
Right.
did we stumble? And because he's not old, I wouldn't say like there's a huge.
26, I
Yeah,
think.
he's
Yeah.
in his 20s.
Yeah.
I just don't know what to expect next. I'm like hopeful as a Padre fan. Like, what if we just found a guy, developed a guy, and he's getting confidence, and he turns into a guy? That'd be fun.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the ideal thing. If nothing else, what a nice spot in an area where we haven't really been able to have it. Because you got Rich Hill to do what he's been doing, and he's just not.
Yeah.
And then they said, all right, next guy up. And at first it was long relief after Rich Hill didn't play well, and he kept putting up scoreless outings. And then they said, hey, man,
You've earned it.
you've earned it. And here's the ball. And he goes out and shoves.
Yep.
Maybe not shoves.
It's
But at the
fully
end of the
effective.
day,
yeah.
0 earned runs through what, 6? 5 2/3.
5 2/3. Yeah.
Yeah,
Something like
0
that.
runs. He worked out of trouble. He let his defense work, which is what you do when you have one of the best defenses in the league. And he's killing it. I'm
He's got-
happy for him.
So, yeah, just on this year, he's 37 innings pitched, 2.19 ERA.
Yeah, that's not nothing.
That's really good.
Yeah.
It's very good. So he's had a good year, and I mean, I just like looked into his story a little bit just because it was a nice moment on what day did he pitch? Tuesday? I think he pitched Tuesday night.
His
and-
last outing.
Yeah, and he went. I think it was like you said, 5 2/3, 6 2/3, pretty solid outing, scoreless against a great Phillies offense. And Petco Park, give our fans some credit, standing ovation. And then in press conference after the game, he was saying that he was almost at tears. Just because. And then I looked into like the road that he's taken a little bit. So I just just pulled up where's he been. So he signed as a 17-year-old out of Venezuela in 2014. And then you actually had mentioned this to me. He was part of the
Derek Norris trade. Derek Norris. We haven't heard that name in a while. That's how long ago he came into our organization, and we're just now really talking
which was
about
at
him.
the end of 2016, it looks like.
Kind of a journeyman. I mean, being raised by baseball.
Yeah.
17. Coming to
Like, think about
the
back
US.
when you were 17 years old. You know what I mean?
I was playing baseball too.
Yeah. In
Not
high
at that
school.
level. It's really cool. He's got a great story,
Yeah.
and apparently him and Tatis are boys.
Yeah.
Like, they're close because they
Yeah.
came in
Up
together.
at the same time through the minors and everything.
in very different routes, right? Tatis makes his debut when he's still, 19?
19 or 20, I think.
Yeah, really young.
Made the team, like the year before they thought he was going to.
And then
Balls
you've
out.
got his buddy who was in the minors watching his friend just
Yep.
become a superstar. He obviously knows, I'm not Tatis, but at the same time, can't be easy,
Yeah.
sitting in the wings for so long, and he gets his opportunity and makes the most of it. We love those stories.
Yeah. But yeah, it was like, so I didn't even know. He actually came up to the majors. He had a start for the Padres in 2019. I didn't even know that. And he went 5 2/3, gave up 1 run against the Diamondbacks, but then he got sent back down. And then he actually got DFA'd at the end of the season. But then the Padres re-signed him. And then 2020 happened with COVID, so the minor leagues didn't have a season. Then he played in the minors, then had to get Tommy John surgery. So then was out for like a whole year. So it's just like, he's been through it a bit. Came up through a couple innings in 2022, it looks like. 2 appearances for the Padres, I think.
Yeah.
And then he wasn't even having a good 2023 season at all, it looks like. This year, 56 innings in AAA, 8.57 ERA.
Worth noting, and a lot of Padre fans know this, our AAA facility is a launch pad.
Yeah, that's true.
If you have a 4 ERA there, you are amazing.
Yeah.
No one has that. But yeah, still 8. He's still getting batted around.
Right. But anyway, it's just like, just going through that list, like he's bounced all over, been part of trades, gone through injuries, had his scuffles in the minors, had like a little taste of the majors, but then back in the minors for like years.
Yeah. And even when he came up this time, he wasn't supposed to get the ball at the beginning of the game. He really earned it. And, long story long, Padre fans,
Yeah.
when he goes out there and he does well, make it extra loud. Why not? The guy has earned it. He's paid his dues.
He has been grinding at it for about 9 years. and now it's like his first like actual, I would say like actual stint in the majors. So that's just like that's dedication.
Makes you feel good about it.
does.
It's cool to see. I'm glad we put a spotlight on it because it deserves it.
I think
it's
so.
a very deserving story.
And like you said, we're just, hopefully it's sustainable. Hopefully he's figured something out this time around to where he can keep it. Because sure, like boy, do the Padres need another starter. That would be awesome. Especially like a guy who has been developed through our own system, because it's not something we see a lot.
No.
So it's nice to see.
And Bomel mentioned there's going to be a lot of change in this rotation moving forward. A lot of question marks. And he's putting himself in a position to potentially be an answer to the question mark. Mm-hmm. Good for you.
Yep. Pedro Avila, everybody. Love to see it. Love to see it. Is it time to play a game?
It is time to play a game. Pull on the heartstrings and bring out the game.
Love it.
So on the screen, you will see the old, the Punnett squares. So you've seen this on socials, where it's like you'll have 3 categories at the top, 3 categories at the bottom. You got to name a player that fits each of them at the intersection.
What do they call it? The Immaculate whatever?
Yeah.
Square or something? Yeah,
this is the Friar side chat squares.
Okay.
All right. So
I won't use
envision
any
this.
notes either.
I'm
on my
let you see.
desktop here. No notes.
So we're going to do the top category. Is going to be from the year 1999 and below. So anything before 1999.
Anything before 1999.
The next square is going to be the 2000s to 2010.
Okay.
And then 11 to 2030. So you have those 3 categories.
Okay.
And then going down, we're going to go 40 plus saves, Silver Slugger, and 15 plus wins.
Man, I wish I had a visual.
I'm going to let you take it.
Okay. So you just need to fill in these as much as I can.
Yep. Give me a guess, and I'll let you know if you're right.
All right. Let's see. We're gonna go. So we start with 40 plus saves before 1999 and
under.
Okay, that's gonna be Trevor Hoffman.
Okay, you can only use him once.
Okay,
that is right.
I'll do 2000 to 2010. We'll do Heath Bell.
I didn't think you were gonna get Bell. That is accurate.
Well, he's an Oceanside guy, so I know.
Okay.
And then we'll do Kirby Yates.
Dude, you nailed the save.
Let's go.
That was good.
Well, that one's not that hard because the Padres, we've talked about it once before, they always have closers. They're always like our one all-star representative.
I thought you were going to try and throw in a hand that wouldn't have been there. I thought there were a couple in there that you wouldn't have got.
Yeah, there's some random guys.
I didn't think you were going to get Bell quickly.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Either way.
Dude,
all right.
Heath Bell, the guy.
Give me that next
Remember
line.
he was the guy who ran in full speed and
at the All-Star game, too.
And took a fat chunk out of the...
You would have thought he was golfing. He had to replace his divot.
That was funny. I was like, oh, wow. Yep. That's the nation's taste of the Padres.
Yeah, I kind of liked it, though.
Silver Sluggers. Okay, I mean, prior to 99, come on. We got Tony Gwynn.
Okay.
That's a no-brainer. 2000 to 2010 Silver Slugger. That's a tricky one. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Let me think. I'm trying to think because this is like when Petco Park opened, kind of, who was like the guy. Here's okay. Maybe, Mark Loretta?
I can't believe you. There's one guy from 2000 to 2010 that won a Silver Slugger, and it's Mark Loretta in 2004.
Let's go.
Oh my gosh.
Let's go. I went to so many games in 2004, dude.
He was awesome.
So many games.
Mark Loretta is one of he's actually my favorite second baseman.
I had a couple other names. I had like maybe a Sean Burrows, maybe a Chase Headley. Do you remember that?
Never got a Silver Slugger. I like Sean Burrows.
If you looked at a couple of his seasons, he was like hovering above 300. But he didn't ever hit
home runs.
Yeah.
That was his big thing. They thought he was going to because of his dad.
But like Headley was another guess I had. Chase Headley maybe. But no, I was like, you know who's freaking good and underrated? Mark Loretta.
He was in the MVP.
And like the best one of the best walk-up songs, I think, in like history.
Low Rider. Yeah.
That's a
Memory lane.
Yeah. Okay, so now I need Silver Slugger between 2011 and I mean we had like 3 last year, right?
No.
What?
We had none last year.
Are you kidding me?
We had 0 Silver
I thought there was
Sluggers
3 last year. I thought Drury and like
nope.
Tati and Machado had one or something. Silver Slugger in the last like 10 years. Mm-hmm. Silver Slugger last 10 years. Oh well, now I just got thrown for a loop because I was like, oh, this one's easy.
I felt like we had more recently too.
Really?
I thought we did.
I don't know. I'm just gonna throw out Machado. Has he won one?
Do we count 2020 season?
I mean, you're the game master.
Yeah, he got one in 2020.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Tatis had one in 2020 and
Yeah.
2021.
Right.
And it was funny because Chase Headley got one in 2012.
Oh, okay. So that's a tricky one.
But that's all of them. I mean, we've been kind of light on
Nice.
the old Silver Sluggers.
Nice.
Okay. And then the last category might be a little bit tougher. 15 plus wins in a season as a starter.
Okay. 1990s. Let's go with Kevin Brown.
I'm looking. That is accurate. In 1998, he had 18.
I figured. I was like, it's got to be the World Series season.
It was like his one. Yeah, wasn't it 1 year with us? And he just went off.
I think so.
Okay. 2000 to 2010.
PV.
Yep. 2007, he had 19.
Okay. And then more recently, 15, huh? It's funny how the recent ones are more tricky for me.
It should be tricky because there's only one person who's done it.
In the last...
Since 11. Like,
There's only one?
one. Padres have been doing great lately.
I guess it's because, one, starters don't go as many innings nowadays. Two, there's just like all kinds of other factors at play. Man,
Sure.
that's a tough one. The recent ones, I don't know. The last 10 years or so,
One person.
one person. I honestly have no idea. Give me Tyson Ross.
No. Tyson Ross.
I know he pitched a ton of games, so that was where I went.
Yeah, he went long. Two more guesses.
Two more guesses?
You haven't gotten any wrong.
That's
You've
nuts.
earned this.
I have earned it. An extra chance. Oh, man.
Throw out one more name. I won't make
Okay.
you do two.
What about more recently? Freaking. Who has been a guy? What about just like Joe Musgrove?
No.
Like a year or two ago, he had a ton of wins.
You know who it is?
Huh.
You Darvish. You should have thought about that.
That was my third pick.
He throws a lot of
Yeah,
innings,
that was my
and he
next-
plays all year. So
was gonna
he
be
had
my next
16 in 2022.
Nice.
And thank you for playing
Yeah.
our first edition
Padres
of
Immaculate.
the Friar Side.
I feel pretty good about that. I did better than I thought.
You did good. My one critique, you didn't show your breadth of knowledge on the Padres. You used Trevor Hoffman and Tony Gwynn and some big names.
Well,
Get creative, huh?
I guess so. I guess you could have said like Ken Caminiti.
Yeah.
Would have been a good one. But
It was still great. You did great.
yeah.
All right, what's next on the agenda?
Actually, don't they do? Sorry, real quick. I think
They
they give
do.
you more
They give you a
points for the
score.
less that somebody picks someone, right?
Yeah, it's really
That's
fun.
interesting. Wow, that's tough though. Okay, that was cool. That was fun. That was good stuff. And what was that? Was I 8 for 9?
8 for 9.
Let's go.
It's pretty good.
That's pretty good. Look at that. Your boys got game.
The best one was Mark Loretta.
Yeah, right.
There was only one player you could have got, and you got it.
Let's go.
Very
It's
deserving.
worth 2 points.
2 points.
100%. Love it. Okay, let's do prospect spotlight. This one I'm excited about.
This week's yours.
Yeah,
I'll take the next week.
I'm excited. Okay, so my prospect spotlight that I have chosen is Homer Bush Jr.
Homer.
So he was this year's 4th round pick for the Padres, like
Oh!
100 and something pick overall. But I'm really excited. So he is an outfielder from Grand Canyon University. So I think he
GCU.
must have been a junior. Yeah, so he's like 21. I would guess. I think he's about 21, which means he's got some development going. But some interesting things, right? So his dad played in the big leagues. He actually was drafted by the Padres way back in '91. And his dad played, looks like 7 big league seasons between the Yankees, Blue Jays, and Marlins.
Solid.
And a little fun fact, his dad was actually on the Yankees team that beat the Padres in the World Series in '98.
Not so fun fact.
Not so fun fact. But anyways, so what I like about this guy is that, so first off, he's 6'3", 200 outfielder,
me.
and he absolutely flies. So that's one thing. So like right off the bat, you're like, okay, that's pretty sick. that's a big dude.
Yeah.
And he flies. But so kind of interesting story though. So as I was doing the digging, he didn't have like offers out of high school, really. he was going to go the JUCO route, like us.
Yes.
Which, as we know, lots of legit players go that route anyway.
Actually do.
But anyway, it's just like, I always like to see kind of the humbling starts, because you've got the guys who are like the guys, everyone, blah, blah, blah. But yeah.
Wait, real quick.
Yeah.
You said 6'3", 200 plus and flies? Mm-hmm. I'll tell you why I like that, and I'm only going to interject very rarely. But how many times have the top prospects of the Padres been these really short guys? And I have nothing against short players. I'm a short player. I love seeing guys like Altuve do it and hit for power, all these things.
Yeah.
But like Mejia and Spangenberg, like all these first-round pick, tiny guys, and you're like, I have nothing against it, but it becomes a pattern, and I'm like, gosh, wouldn't it be great if our top prospect was like, I don't know, Aaron Judge build, and like just hit dingers? Mm-hmm. So I'm a little excited about that.
Yeah.
Nothing against short players, but that's been our...
That was part of the reason, too, like why I was excited about this pick was because the Padres, if you look over, especially like the A.J. Preller tenure, right, he goes for highest upside out of high school. Probably so that he can trade them away.
Yeah.
Because their upside is so high, right?
They don't have to develop them because they have time for another organization to do it.
Exactly. So I just thought it was kind of against their typical draft pattern. Liked to see it. Again, his dad has some big league experience, whatnot. But anyway, so back to the story. He didn't really have a lot of options out of high school, was going to go JUCO. And then it was funny because I guess GCU, the only reason they ended up like giving him and it was probably, I don't know if it was like a preferred walk-on or whatever, but I think they only gave it to him because one of the coaches knew his dad. So they're like, okay, like, yeah, we'll give you at least a shot to make the team. Right. So it's like, even just starting off like that, like that's kind of an interesting story. Didn't play a whole lot as a freshman, but it was interesting, right? You see the progression. He was like 6'1", like 170 or something freshman year. Then he was like 6'2", 185 sophomore year. And then by his junior year, 6'3", like 195 or 200, I think I said, right? So it's like, this kid's still developing, right?
Putting meat on the bones.
And if you look at his numbers each year, significant jumps each year too. And so like his senior year stat line, he hit 370, 476 slugging, 476 on base percentage, 500 slugging, 25 stolen bases through 58 games, which... If that's a full major league season, we're talking 70 stolen bases. And you could argue that steals right now in the big leagues might actually be easier to get than in D1 because, one, there's some really good defensive catchers in D1, and in college they don't have the rules with the pickoffs. You can still pick off as many times as you want.
Yeah.
So it's like that's only going to benefit him, too, with the speed there.
Yes.
Defense is solid. Most of his highlights in the minors right now are his defensive plays. Yeah, dude, like honestly, it's just as I kept diving down the rabbit hole, like it's just more and more to like.
I love it. I think it's really cool. I think the outfield's kind of a weak spot for us when you think of the fact that we're not going to have Soto forever. I don't think he's going to re-sign with us.
Right.
He might, but imagine him being gone. Trent Grisham is replaceable, right? We could use an upgrade there, and if you got someone coming up in the minors, and he's not, a high school kid, we could see him in a couple years.
That's the thing, a development, right?
He's gonna be here quicker, which is always fun as a fan, right? How many times do they draft someone, and it's like, well, when am I going to see him? It's one of the downsides of the baseball draft.
Yeah,
you see their name flash up, and you're like, cool. Time goes by, you kind of forget about that name.
Like, I remember. I think we were both really excited about the Mackenzie Gore signing when they signed him 4th overall. But it was back in like 2016 or something because he was only 17 at the time.
Yeah.
And then now we're starting to see him pitch, and he's really good. But how long did that take? 6-7 years, something like that.
And was he on the forefront of your mind? Were you excited opening day, the day he got drafted? No, that's the weird part about the baseball draft and the development cycle.
Right.
But now we've got some older prospects to look forward to that are going to be there quicker.
Yeah, exactly. So again, he's already had 3 years of good Division I coaching.
Yeah, and GCU,
which goes a long way.
It's not a slouch school. I mean, they play some legit competition.
Well, he was also, so that's another point. He was teammates with what's his name, Jacob Wilson, who was the 6th overall pick and son of former big leaguer Jack Wilson. You might remember, kind of a defensive wizard on what do you play for? The Pirates. That's what I remember him on. But anyway, so he's played with really good other players, including top draft picks. But actually, one of my favorite things, though, I got one more good.
I want to hear it. I'm loving this.
There's actually Padres' 1st overall draft pick, Dylan Head, right? High school outfielder,
right?
Same thing. I think he's 17, 18 years old, so a young kid. very toolsy. They actually just saw an interview with him. They interviewed him like just the other day because I think was the minor league season over or something. He was hanging out at Petco.
Okay.
Long story short. So they started interviewing him, and they were just asking him, like, how's your experience been so far with the minors? Have you interacted with any of the other draft picks? And first guy he brings up, Homer Bush Jr. First guy. Because he's like, oh, yeah, you know, like, I love playing with Homer. And he even mentioned, like, you know, he's a little bit older guy. He went through the college circuit, and he's like, yeah, and he's been like, you know, I've been picking his brain because he's already developed. He's already got so much. He's been helping him out, like, a lot, is what he said.
Love that.
So he's already a guy who the young guys are going to. And he's only 21 himself.
Yeah.
You know? And it's just like, I love to see that, you know, just because it's like, that's
character.
A leader. Yeah. You're already looking at his character.
Anytime you hear something that quick where, I mean, cause it's a new surrounding for him too. Mm-hmm. You know, he's walking into this, it's his first time being in a professional setting, but he's still carrying himself in a way that has others younger than him gravitating towards him. Right. And it does say a lot about his character. I'm excited for him.
Yeah, and I mean,
that's
like I said, it helps to have his dad. So I'm sure he was probably, you know, bouncing around major league clubhouses as a kid, which, as we've heard from all these, you know, stars
benefits
right now.
Greatly.
Yeah, you know, because it's not a shock to them. They're like, oh, yeah, I remember this from being a kid.
Knowing how things work.
Exactly.
Dude, think about your first day of school. Like, the next year that you go, you have that information to go off of, and it's not as scary. Mm-hmm. They have their parents that they grew up around this game and know what it's like. And you can't tell me that dad isn't going to be on the phone with them saying, hey, man, here's what to expect. Yep. Or how'd that go? Oh, yeah. Here's how you deal with that. I dealt with that.
Exactly. Well, just to have that sounding board, right? And your father to go to who's been there, done that, you know, I think is awesome. So, like I said, lots to like. Last thing I will put on that is just he played Lake Elsinore a couple games this year. Doesn't look like a huge sample size. I didn't get the actual number of games, but I'll just read the quick little stat line here. 122 at-bats, 31 runs, 37 hits, 3 home runs, 14 RBIs, 19 stolen bases.
Love it.
Again, he flies. 303 average, 415 OPS, or sorry, on-base percentage, 858 OPS. Solid.
At Lake Elsinore, that's really good. Mm-hmm. It's not a hitter-friendly park. It's not like AAA for us, where the Chihuahuas play. For storm numbers, that's really, really good.
Just solid. And like I said, too, if you look them up, it's like all the highlights are defensive, too. Just flying around, making diving catches. His hat, like Hassan Kim, falls off every time. So I have that in common. But again, so I'm very high on Homer Bush Jr. I'm very excited.
What's his projected year to make it to the bigs? Is it 25?
Didn't look that up, but like we said, because he's 21, though, I mean, I would imagine it'd be pretty quick. I would be shocked if he wasn't at AA or AAA by next year, just based off of, you know, how he was already doing. But yeah, so that's the spotlight for this week. That's my spotlight.
Clap,
I like
clap.
I'm excited. I like this kid a lot.
That was a really, really good first spotlight.
Thank you.
I left it to you because I wanted to be surprised about it, and it was awesome. I didn't know all that about Homer, and I'm excited for him to come now. Hopefully you guys are too, and that's what you can expect on our spotlight in the minors.
Yep, very good, very good.
Clap, clap. All right.
Clap, clap. Which then brings us to our look ahead. So, just when you think things couldn't get worse. So the Padres are off today. Again, today is September 7th, so it's Thursday. Tomorrow they're in Houston for 3. First place Houston, who are hot right now. Jose Altuve, 5 home runs and 5 at-bats or something like that.
Talking about little guys that pack a wallop. Yeah.
Unreal. But anyways, Houston is heating up. And then no breaks over to LA, 3 against the Dodgers. So that's the week the Padres have ahead of them.
When we were looking at the schedule and how favorable it was on the back half, this was that one stretch that was going to be really hard. Mm-hmm. Houston and LA back to back. We'll see what they do. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know, if they pull off a miracle, great. Not expecting it. Right. But it'll be fun to watch. Good luck, Snell.
I'm interested to see so he's probably going to pitch against the Astros, right?
I don't think they've put out their projected pitchers yet. I'll do a quick look.
I think based off of just like how the rotation's going, because I think he threw on like Monday or something.
What are we talking about? He's pitching on Friday.
Well, there you go.
Against Hunter Brown, favorable matchup.
Oh, interesting.
Rookie Hunter Brown, who's been doing well. He's 10-10, 4.53 ERA. Doesn't look as good next to Snell's 2.5.
Nice.
His year's been unreal.
Yeah,
started out like 1-8. Now he's 12-9.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, knowing the Padres, they'll probably play well.
Yeah, against the teams that are good.
Yeah. And then the following stretches against like the Cardinals again. And, like the Athletics are coming up. White Sox are coming up. It's just like...
Just have fun watching baseball while you can. If you don't tune in every time, don't blame you. But the season's coming to a close. Mm-hmm. Still love the Padres. Mm-hmm. Still cool things that can happen. Just enjoy it without the stress.
Yeah.
Without the stress.
You know what? That has totally been a thing. Last couple games, like for a while there, I would, be watching the games and just like you have
every
this
loss was
You're
crushing.
tense, and it hurts when they lost. You're like, oh, because they could have won. But now it's like,
let me transport you back to 2013 when we sucked and you never had stress about them winning or losing.
There watching the game, having fun.
A win was nice.
Yeah.
A loss was whatever. So that's where we're at.
So, wait, hold on, last thing. So that means if Snell pitches on Friday, he might get the last game in the Dodgers series too, right?
I don't think he wants that. If I'm in,
going
the Cy Young hunt, I'm like, give me the A's, give me the Cardinals. Going against Houston and the
Just
Dodgers.
Say, I'm a little tight today, Coach.
We're going to push it back.
I'm a little tight.
Yeah.
That's funny. But anyways, so some challenging series to come up. But it should be fun.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll enjoy it. That's what baseball's for. Like we said earlier, it's entertainment at the end of the day. Sometimes it doesn't feel like it, but that's what it's for. But yeah, that wraps it up for this week's episode. We will see you same time next Thursday.
Thank you.
See ya.